And so, as we mentioned before, veterans going up against kind of these surprise up-and-comers of Cannoneers.
I was going to say Fury's been around since around, what, 2016 is what I was looking into?
Well, and kind of a lot of them have histories as sort of being some of the architects of Dodgeball in Canada.
Okay.
And some have kind of shifted from being more the phone players to trying out cloth and performing in the world stage there, like GP Nguyen. We're going to see kind of Wu and Somerville. Somerville in particular got a hard cannon, but I'm reticent to use that term right now. So get ready for Parody, who's on the right wing with the headband. The speed.
Explosive off the rush. I see. Nice wide feed there to start the match. I like using that space, really extending your opponent all the way to that opposite side off the feed, forcing them to look that way.
Something I like about when we get to the national scene here is so like there's like kind of the devil may care attitude of the Cannoneers as a solo throw happens, not connecting, is sometimes you can kind of get the jitters of like, oh, we know about Fury. Like Fury's, they've been top dogs for so long, as McGee is around. But the attitude that the Cannoneers have is just perfect, where it's like, hey, we can beat anyone. Like we're having fun, and because of the unknownness, there's no advantage. Fury doesn't know necessarily what they're going up against, right?
Well, it's always an interesting dynamic when an opponent doesn't know you and you don't necessarily know them. Some familiarity can carry through, but it's always interesting when you're kind of feeling each other out, especially early in the day like this.
Good rhythm on both sides. Hard throw by Wu.
I was fortunate to watch Fury in the last match I just reffed, actually.
Yeah,
it's a good match. They had a dominant 6-2 win, but I believe Tiro was pushing back pretty well. They had a 2-game comeback building from leading to the halftime. Fury was able to capitalize through that space, though, in the game with a commanding court presence. I'm curious if they'll carry that through as we go.
Strong strategic team as Min is eliminated. Wu. Oh, he had an out. He was getting his next ball, but a great catch instead. Puts the player advantage back heavily for Cannoneers. Grant Freeman there on the right wing with the catch. I believe that's Brenner Bourget. Yeah, Kevin Brenner Bourget on the left wing, sends it hard. Counter is happening and connects. Ethan Somerville, watch out.
Yeah, you mentioned he.
Lefty arm?
Yeah, I was gonna say you mentioned he was a cannon, but I noticed he's a lefty as well. Double entendre there.
And that messes with your brain when you're defending, right?
You have to be ahead of it. It's the only way, really. If you're not thinking consciously about who's throwing at you and which arm they're throwing at you with, you're just relying on muscle memory. It makes it really hard. Not to say some people don't have that skill set. Some people are that good. They can react either way, but it's a very difficult skill to develop.
2 cent crisscrossing, no connecting. Freeman stays alive. Oh. Somerville unable to pull it in.
Great posture there. Got under it, just couldn't quite reel it in.
Byron Sang with the throw. Nice and low. Pushing up against his opponent. Andre says, give me another one.
I was going to ask, that's how he pronounced his last name, Landre?
He didn't give us phonetic pronouncing. So you get to hear all the Francophone last names.
I took French in high school, so I mean, that's a different combination.
Ooh, hard throw. Ably blocked by Landre. Slowly pushing into the attack zone. Lets it rip. 4v1's pretty tough, though.
I like that he's showing patience here. He's not rushing himself. He is still willing to go high up the court. And it looks like Cannoneers was poised to try to take advantage of that, but unable to in that sequence.
Early point for them would be a big deal, but Renier taken out. Oh, ref steps in, confirms. Oh. Okay, I was going to say, well, maybe tell him to go at the back, but no, he's clean. Still 4v1. Hard throw, right on the caboose. It's one tricky thing, if someone blocks and kind of leaves the back end open.
Well, in critical execution there, it's a pressured situation to throw one and then throw your last held ball. You miss that shot, you're basically exposed in a bad position. He was able to capitalize by taking that space and executing that throw.
High leverage, gets the reward.
I think that's actually part of the strategy in most one-on scenarios, especially when you're down. One, because we're in a timed match. It's better to try to make something happen quickly than drag this out, although it is the first set. But being able to kind of create opportunities where you show your opponent that you might be exposed, but then using that to your advantage. I think that's an excellent skill to have in this scenario.
So where do you lie on the knee pads, no knee pads? As a fan, I just feel like you have to do knee pads.
I think I'm actually like smack in the middle where I like the most minimal knee pad possible because I do really value that mobility and agility. Also, just not having a large bulky knee pad that can get grazed. I think that isn't necessarily the most significant factor, but it does depend on your play style because I lean into agility.
Perfectly executed, but he actually, even to that very last minute, Landry had just great hand placement.
He was doing a great job of surviving all the way through that, keeping himself low, using his blocking the ball, making sure to keep pressure on his opponent, not allowing them to group throw at him. That was actually really well played. He was just in an uphill battle from the start.
Some roster changes here. Speakman now on the left wing, Will Andrusic. You've seen him on the world stage, and Jan up. Opening rush, he's not targeted, it's McGee.
Wow.
Grenier. McGee brings it in.
Ate that one for breakfast. He must have been hungry.
It's kind of a shame that like when you've got all 6 players, you don't get like a +1 for later.
Well, that's part of the strategy, right? It's kind of worthwhile to be more aggressive in that moment off the opening rush because there's less of a penalty for throwing that catch. You might as well go direct and fast. If you can place a ball well, go for it. That's great, but it's usually worth the risk because odds are you'll get a catch throughout the extent of your match anyway.
And speaking of catch, Anderson gets it. And I'm also noticing Bryce Potvin on court inside of the left wing. So big roster here, or a big changeover at least from set to set for Fury.
Loving that posture on the back line from Cannoneers. All 3 of them prepared, whether they have a blocking ball or not.
Movement, mobility, becomes hard to predict. Hard on target.
Good to see Fury executing the pump fake patiently this early in the tournament. Usually teams kind of come out swinging and they lose track of that. That's actually an extremely valuable skill to be applying early on. Getting those early counters out of your opponent, make sure that they're hesitant to throw them, that can really put you in a good position to be successful. Whew, just like that.
Brings it in. Counter was not successful. Speakman now making a play call. Many full court here versus 1. Sang by himself. The 2-ball block works, but the rebound comes all the way back to Speakman. Balls exchanging back and forth, and that was a catch.
I was so focused on his dodging that I missed the catch.
Point on the board. Coaching coming out of Alex Svitlovsky. And I believe, so yeah, two coaches as well. We've got Lynn Kirkpatrick. So veterans of the leadership scene as well.
I was going to ask, if Fury's been around for as long as they have and have been so successful, do they have long-standing members that still lead the team, or is that leadership transition over time?
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, and like one of the things I think they were dealing with a couple years ago is just kind of the aging stage of a lot of the players, and one of the tactics that kind of veteran teams have needed to do is sort of like start pulling people up from the ranks. But like one of the strengths that Dodgeball Ottawa has is so Lynn Kirkpatrick just herself, top player for many years. You can see she's wearing the Valkyrie jersey. Grenier is a Lind. So and then Spencer Siro, who's been a long-time player for, and I just wanted to double check. So he, formerly a long-time player for Fury is one of the coaches for Valkyrie, and so that you kind of have like the value of like having both genders just crushing it in a community.
It really does offer a different perspective that can be incredibly valuable. It's hard for me to speak to because I don't play women's dodgeball myself, but I do see that effect of the difference in pace of play and the way that they can be switched on and off. I think Valkyrie is a great example of a team that does that. And seeing how that can be translated to men's competition as well. I think men's competition tends to be aggressive all the time.
Muscle first, right? Yeah.
Exactly, and I think we're starting to see that transition over time of the strategy playing out and intermingling, especially with the combination of mixed tournaments.
Now 2v3, advantage player-wise here for Fury. Now 2v1, Clarity taken out at the last minute there.
Again, pressuring high on the court, willing to put himself in that risky space.
Yeah, Chan just like couldn't get it like kind of everything set around him in time. It's tricky because if you want your kind of balls available, balls in hand, and that kind of quick taking the opportunity has been a strength for Fury so far.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty comfortable in their rhythm at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if Cannoneers can do something to disrupt that. I believe that last set was opened with a catch. Maybe that was the prior.
Oh, McGee's like point blank.
That breakfast.
Boss move. That delay almost was a false start here on Cannoneers. They were locked and loaded and ready to go. Great discipline. Send one, no connection. Pressure, McGee and Wu. Going in for the play call. JP Nguyen is ready there, number 16. Sends it. Whew. Coming back at us. And Freeman.
Cannoneers looking to kind of show some spice off that back line, trying to keep the opponent off of him. Fury's been pretty comfortable, so I think that may be a wise tactic.
Chorney in the middle with the ball. It's not him, it's Brennan Berger. He's got the hard heat. McGee unable to pull that one in. Play call coming from the captain.
I think that transition there just didn't work in Fury's favor. Threw one ball, then quickly tried to follow. It's a way of catching your opponent off guard, but it can also leave you open to the counter rush. That's all that really happened there. He did manage to get to his back line, but his team wasn't really prepared to disrupt the thrower.
Big shot, big hit.
I'd like to see that cross-court pressure. Having your right corner just hold this corner down so you can just line up that right no-look.
That's like the important thing about dodgeball. Like, you know, we're saying it's a team game. You can play well as individuals, but victory happens when, like, hey, don't worry, I'm going to be sacrificial, or I know I'm a pawn in a chess move.
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of a balance of kind of creating the opportunity for your teammate, but also trying to play at pace. That's kind of the challenge of playing at a high level, and since all of these teams are high-level teams, it becomes how do we play at our pace without getting out of control, but also by forcing our opponent into exposed positions. That's really where the teamwork, I think, comes in dodgeball, is how do you pressure and lock an opponent's attention so that you can expose that and use that to your advantage without giving up too many balls and without getting countered for doing so.
Hard throw, getting nice and low. Good thing he's wearing elbow pads there. Wins just goes to the ground. Quick into the attack zone. They send two on different targets. Brennan Berger is eliminated. Great kind of contact rate coming from Fury.
Yeah, both teams really just seem to be pushing back and forth with each other. It's been momentum back and forth from both teams. It's been a good matchup so far.
I'm not used to seeing Freeman on that far end, so let's see if it's also whoa, preemptive strike.
Just counters for days. The teams are just going back and forth right now.
Trade in favor of Cannoneers. Great throw, Kravitz. Wins is out. 2 on target. Potvin stays alive. He's got an interesting delivery. I like watching his footwork, and you can tell he makes use of kind of finger placement on the ball.
I was just looking. It looks like he's got kind of that wide open grip. Really extending his 2 forefingers and his thumb across the ball in order to emphasize that spin and curve.
And we're in the final 10 seconds until we hit first half, no blocking. So if I'm Potvin, I'm releasing Suns out, guns out. If you knew, and he connects right on target, taking out Chan.
Just carrying that over the ball with a little curve. I like it. Trying it again, too.
Into the gloves, and Chorney takes it. Matthew Chorney, well done. And I believe now the refs have noticed the game clock.
Yep, looks like we lost track of time. That just means we go straight into the no block here.
Because it's been such a great match.
How do you feel the no block lends into both of these teams? Do you think either would have an advantage in this?
It's like kind of what I was saying before. Cannoneers have that like devil may care, like not that they're like happy to be here, but that unorthodox versus like deep strategy coming from Fury. Okay. And like a respect for like what situational play. So I would lean on Fury.
As in they'll be able to exploit that kind of loose nature of
they know what to do
Cannoneers.
in that moment. But like, if it ever descends to chaos, which a lot of times no block does, that's an advantage of Cannoneers is the aptly named team.
I was going to say that one lived up to it. Straight from the middle, about 45, 50 feet back. Ooh, but answered.
Ankle biter.
That left arm from Somerville. Letting it rip.
Yeah, they don't mind if he sends a few. Now Speakman taking that right wing. Burn the throw on Cannoneers. Shots exchanging back and forth. Yeah, confirmed. He's clear.
I like the willingness to counter there from the back line, even with just 2 balls. I think that's something you can really lean into in no block. The more antsy you can make your opponent, the better off you are. And because it's no block, they kind of have to be antsy, unless they're really trying to bait catch. But even if they are, you kind of expose that quickly by throwing those counters.
Beyond gone, 4 remaining from Fury. Patience out of the Cannoneers. But lots of balls on the Fury end. They send 1 right on target, 2 on target. Parody has been a bad luck situation for most of the throws. They've been right on him, but he's been unable to pull it in. So I kind of wonder for him if in second half he can swap up his strategy. And they're connected.
Yeah, Fury taking full advantage of the ball control they earned there. Got 5 balls and just were able to capitalize 1, 2, 3.
So you've refed, you've seen different format, of course. There isn't really this break here at the end of half. Transitioning really quickly.
Everything is a max of 30 seconds between each set, and that carries through the halftime. Close sets so far, though. 3-2. I believe it's 3 Fury, right? They've already switched the scoreboard.
We really only saw that like 10 seconds of dominance there.
Yes.
Where it was like 4v4, and then they're like, you know what? We're done treating these equals. Pop. and it was just these near catches, like we saw from Cannoneers, that they're kind of vulnerable to kind of that straight shot to bring it in. Which if I'm Fury, like, and you got Slavsky there, like the advantage of a coach would be someone going, hey, I saw this happening. Feel free to take the hits. Like we've seen a couple catches from Cannoneers, right?
Well, yeah, if you're showing your cards like that, it's definitely something that you can recognize and use to your advantage. I do think there's some credit to Cannoneers, though, for trying that early. I think when you're in a major tournament like this, the earlier you can get comfortable catching on the back line, the better off you are. You may sacrifice some plays doing it. You may lose sets, you may lose matches. But if you can get it going early, it can be your best asset as the tournament carries on.
I really appreciate what you were saying. Is like earlier we were talking like how to play as a team and make it chess and not checkers. The other element, like you're saying, is tournament play is not necessarily, hey, we need to win every set, and kind of getting those muscles going of like, because in playoffs it's going to be backcourt to backcourt a lot. Chorney with another strong throw.
Well, yeah, and this is a 3-day tournament. If you're going deep in the bracket, you're going to be playing a lot of dodgeball. So you really do have to be kind of patient from the onset. I was a little worried about Fury in that first set. I was reffing because they came out swinging. Both teams did. But they quickly tempered. It's actually really impressive to see how disciplined everyone's playing just the second set of the tournament.
It just like went over and around Somerville. I don't know if he's got a shield defending them there, but it's just
got the bubble shield out.
Getting nice and low. Grenier showing great hip flexibility. Ups, Andrusik.
It's like Fury's trying to play off of the back line, really using that to their advantage, playing off the counter. Cannoneers seems to be pretty wary of it, though. I might need to see an adjustment.
Same, perfectly thrown. I wonder if like Nian's reaction was like, I didn't really think it was going to kind of go in that way.
Woo, there's an adjustment.
That net just saved us.
Oh.
Big rip, unexpected. Oh, Sang, sneaky. Brenner Bourget up to the line, didn't go for the intended target that I thought, whips it at Andrusik, and Sang ghosting behind him in the shadows. 1v3 as Chorney is limped. Shot clock counting down, and in the hip, Brenner Bourget.
All right, well, we're tied up then. I was going to say that could have been a critical point. Getting that two-game leverage at this point in the match could have been advantageous. And now we're even up. So now teams can kind of play into their strengths and do what they want. Who was Fury playing in the game?
Tiro.
Okay.
Boop, 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 false start. McGee, you want to and part of it is there's like a pretty delayed 3, 2. And if you're trying to get a rhythm on that, that's going to be difficult. So,
well, yeah, and I appreciate that it's intentional. The refereeing committee was very explicit about that. Make sure that we're not starting the match in any sort of cadence. We're trying to make sure that we're making sure teams are ready, and then carrying from there, allowing 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds before actually blowing the whistle, so the teams are forced to listen for it. And it's good to see the discipline that teams are showing. Like you saw, Cannoneers nearly jumped the line in one of those earlier sets, was able to hold on to it. They know what they're trying to do. They are listening for that whistle.
And a 1-2 punch in the middle makes the player advantage here for Fury. Back and forth balls exchanging. Worthwhile trade though if you're the Cannoneers, although now down to 2.
Yeah, looking.
Somerville arm is off.
Cannoneers looking pretty comfortable now the score is tied. They want to be aggressive and try to get ahead. But now they're back into a 2-on-5 it looks.
Sam Chan, play call. 2 balls apiece. And whoa! Easy catch.
Man, great follow throw to get the hit on the legs following the catch, but left himself in a bad position there. 2-on-5.
In a moment, we're going to give you an opportunity to vote for your MVP of the match. Ooh, tricky, because we've been just watching such great team play. Now, if I'm thinking, we've had some good play. Brenner Bourget, Kravitz for sure.
I was going to say Kravitz stood out to me. He was definitely taking those cross-court shots and making them count.
Whoa, big rip. McGee had a great early catch.
Oh yeah, he had that
and a catch
catch.
Opportunity taken by Freeman. A little bit surprised that I didn't see anyone biting on the Fury end. Speakman now out even as well. Best case scenario if you're the Cannoneers. Big rip. Not connecting. Burden to throw on Cannoneers. Ref pausing for a moment so Freeman can tie his shoes. Shot clock counting down again. Tricky to pick your MVPs.
I was going to say, I've got Kravitz standing out. Who would you say was working hard on either corner?
Well, it was a tough first half for Purdy, so I'd go Brenner Bourget.
Okay. I was going to say, I couldn't see names in that half because we weren't looking at him.
Steady Eddie with his throws.
I know their corners were working hard. They're trying to be aggressive off of those counters.
He was right on the other one.
Boom, boom. Trade situation. Chorney and Jan Lind.
Cannoneers finally able to get some leverage here at the beginning.
Potvin confirming. Oh, is he saying I got the catch? Or Chorney is being pulled off court. Haven't spoken much about Eric Alain. He's on the left wing right now, number 7. Watch him. Fresh arm and a wicked sweeper though.
Yeah, he's got an interesting grip. Really kind of like gets his fingers tight to each other on the ball. Able to really put some wrist movement into it. Coming from more of a side slot than anything.
Cool. Man, the loop from Freeman too. It's like you don't always need to send the fastball in the heat because if it's hard to tell where it's going.
Well, yeah, both teams are really showing that they're capable of doing that, really locking that pressure down in the corner. So it doesn't come down to how fast you throw. It's more so about how you place it.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Oh, no. Is he saying balls hit?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Still, Paul Van, you can like see just like his pulse is like steady Eddie there. Like he is as calm as a cucumber.
It was so weird. It looked like the ball just kind of floated to the back of his hand and he was able to wrap it around it at the last moment.
And now's your opportunity to vote for the MVP of the match.
We've got Kravitz and Bourget in for the Cannoneers, and we got Somerville and McGee in for the Fury.
And opportunity for Kravitz and Brenner Bourget to build on their case, as well as McGee, who's in a 1v mini situation, making it 1v4 with that excellent hit.
KBB, I like it.
And a point on the board. So you missed it. First match of the day on court ended in a tie. It was amazing. Back and forth.
Yeah.
What are we getting right now? Boom. It's 4-4. Only a couple minutes left. Most likely not to end in a tie. But we've been so blessed so far at the start of this tournament. Of just watching, like, no one kind of run away with anything.
Well, yeah, teams are clearly testing each other from the start. It was the same in the last time I repped with Fury against Hero.
Whoop.
Fury was able to pull away after the halftime, but only by 4 overall, so it wasn't a walk-away game by any means. In this case, it kind of turned the other way. Instead of walking away, they were able to tie it up, and now we're into the no block.
A smart move by Freeman. We had a very unsuccessful toss back. Kept Grenier totally vulnerable. He got out instantly, but Freeman made sure it wasn't a lopsided start to the set.
Looking for that cross again. I like the execution. Just a little high that time.
How about instead of KBB, it's like the BB gun.
The BB. ABB.
Pop, back and forth.
Right back into that exchange game. Both teams seem to thrive in this area. Fury's trying to keep it under control. Cannoneers trying to press the issue, and they seem to keep opening up that chaos space.
It's interesting, like, oh, you got one of my guys? Like, now I'm absolutely going to make sure to neutralize that.
Well, this is kind of what I was questioning about the no block. I think Cannoneers is kind of drawing success from that as long as they can get that first out. They're very willing to trade to win the game.
If there's any advantage, it's just those catch opportunities, and we've gone in favor of Fury. Parity is a limb again, so we got 3v3. He's been a steady target on that wing, holding up and providing pressure. Kravitz now taking his place. Pressure for days, retreating. Get that team play call for Wu in the center.
I like the strategic pressure there. Didn't really accomplish much. His teammates weren't prepared to step up and really take advantage of it, but he gave them the opportunity. That can be critical in a set like this. And now we're sitting at a 2v2. Teamwork's gonna be critical.
And Freeman, rising star, like he's got that looper that is so soft. That was definitely
Body
hit
to
first.
ground, right?
Yeah.
Very quick though. I can understand why he wouldn't have realized.
So like he's kind of like in baseball when you got a two-pitch pitcher that's nasty on the differential. Like his fastball, good. That curveball is so slow. And now 1v1.
Exactly what you're describing there, being able to turn it into speed and then be able to adjust that throw speed to the point where the player reacts early and then drop the ball underneath the blocker.
Now we are at the end of second half, so we're moving into no blocking. And a timeout is called. We can call a timeout whenever. One per match. Great opportunity because, well, like as even as this match has been, it comes down to kind of mano a mano.
Well, yeah,
1v1.
We saw Sang earlier on in a one-on situation. He had a few more numbers against
Fury
him.
of balls against him, if you were to say.
I wonder how he plays this out in the 1v1 space. If he's more patient and more aggressive going into the Cannoneer style. Pretty aggressive from the start.
And he releases both. Big ups. Getting twisting off.
Just a bit of a fumble. He actually used the lateral motion and then just kind of stumbled back there at the end for no real reason.
Kind of a little button mash moment at the end.
It's just unfortunate there. I like to see the aggression though. He's willing to come out, throw all three balls, live and die by the catch. He knew he was a survivable player. He had agility to lean on. It was an unfortunate way to close it there, but definitely a skill set he can prove through the tournament.
Well, Michael, it's a break from you. We were watching Fury and Cannoneers, yet another great match. And so next up it'll be Tyro, No Strangers to You versus Ascend.
Yep. So I got a little opening view of Tyro with the first set that I refed, and then Ascend I did a little research on. It's an interesting team as well.
And your co-commentator will be none other than JP Nguyen.
Awesome.